Calculating the area of a circle. Circles are really neat because they show up an awful lot. They're kind of like fractions. They just never really go away. I'm doing trig with my students now and I'm just like, oh, great. Oh boy, we're back at circles. Hi, I'm Sarah. I've been teaching math and science classes for 20 years and I like to keep math engaging and fun and not so scary for everybody. Find the links and things for signing up for tutoring in my profile. The area of a circle is pi r squared. This is just the formula. So area is how much is sort of like filling it in, right? I always think about it as like area would be like how much grass you need to lay over it or how much paint you need to cover it. And then circumference for a circle, it's sort of like the perimeter of a circle. Okay, so circumference is the distance around the circle. So like how much like fencing would you need, right? Or how long would you be walking around there, right? So the circumference of the circle is pi times the diameter. And we've got, there's the center of the circle. That would be your radius. The radius is the distance from the center to the side. And it's gonna be the same all the way around. That's the definition of a circle. So the definition of a circle is it's all the points that are the same distance from a center point. Okay, so a linear equation, right? A line is always just the infinite number of points that meet that relationship or that show that relationship. So if you've got a line, great, that's all the points, right? If you've got a parabola, that's all the points, X and Y. If you've got a circle, it's all of the points that are that distance from the center, right? Think about a dog like on a like leash or on a lead, right? It's gonna be running all the way around, but it can't go any further than that leash will let it, right? So that's your radius, is the length of that leash, right? Your diameter is the distance from one end to the other. That line was very wobbly, sorry about that. From one side to the other through the center point. So that's the diameter. Now the diameter is the same thing as 2 times the radius. So sometimes, I don't know where my voice went on that one, but sometimes you'll see the circumference formula as 2 pi r. So sometimes you'll see it like that. I prefer doing it with pi times the diameter, and here's why. Is because I really enjoy like mnemonic devices, right? And little kind of tricks, right? Like commutative property, I always remember that by like, oh, it's your commute. Like whether you're driving to school or home from school, it's your commute. You're going the same distance, right? It doesn't matter if which order you're going in. With this one, I like thinking of the word, this is so funny. The word area is a short word, or it's shorter than circumference, but it has the longer formula, and circumference is the longer word and has the shorter formula. I just have mnemonic devices for everything. So area, short word, big formula. Circumference, big word, short formula. So that's why I tend to use the pi times the diameter, is because that way, like, because 2 pi r and pi r squared, I think those can get really mixed up easily. So that's why I just usually stick with these, okay? So finding the area is gonna be pi r squared. Now, a lot of times, teachers will say, especially when you're first learning about pi, and I wonder, nobody really talks about where pi comes from. Do you know where pi comes from? So pi is this really kind of magical number that mathematicians, like ancient mathematicians, started to notice that the relationship between the circumference and the diameter of the circle, of any circle that they could find, was always around 3. So the circumference was always about 3 times the diameter. Didn't matter what size the circle was, it was always the same. So the circumference, the distance around, was always 3 times the diameter. As calculations and stuff like that, as they did more like work onto it, then you've kind of figured out that like 3.1415, blah, blah, on and on and on and on and on. But isn't that a cool origin? Like that's so fascinating to me that that's something that you just kind of start to notice. Like all of those relationships that you first start to notice, like this circumference and diameter, oh, it's about 3 apart. That's crazy to me. But anyway, area is pi r squared. So if you want to use 3.14 instead of pi, you can if you want to find like an approximate calculation. But if somebody's asking you to do like an exact answer, that means they want you to leave it in pi, right? Because 3.14 is not gonna give you the exact measurement that you need or want or whatever you're kind of looking for. You take the ACT, just use pi, please. Yeah, just leave it as pi. Be comfortable with seeing pi just as itself, right? Like, or as itself, just by itself or with a coefficient or anything like that. That's Mathed Up.